Feeling overwhelmed by all the tech that it takes to get your business up and running online? Thankfully, Squarespace has made it super simple to get started building a website, and this drag and drop platform is perfect for the DIYer who's looking to quickly and easily tackle this major business to do. By the end of this video, you will have nailed all the basics you need to know to confidently build and launch your website to the world. I'll also be going beyond just the Squarespace tech and how-tos, and I'll also be sharing with you my favorite resource for helping you plan the content you'll need to include on the most important page of your website, that is your homepage. All right, let's dive in. If you haven't already signed up for your Squarespace free trial, you'll need to do that before you can start your site build. So visit squarespace.com and click Get Started. It's up to you whether you decide to use their little quiz to help you pick the perfect template, but just know that every single template can achieve the same thing in the new version of Squarespace. So if you get halfway through your site build and really wish you had picked another template, you don't have to start over. You can actually take your current template and make it look and act exactly like the next using Squarespace's built-in editing features. The only reason you would choose one template over another here is that visually one seems like a better starting point for where your end design is headed. I'd even encourage you to browse categories that are different from what you actually offer. Why? Say your competition is also DIYing their site on Squarespace. Which template do you think they will be most likely to choose? The one created specifically for your industry or niche, right? So branching out into different template categories is the best way to make sure your website doesn't end up looking exactly like your competition's. You can preview the demo pages for each template by hovering over it and clicking preview, and even preview how it will look on mobile or tablet by clicking here. Not seeing a page you need? If the template you like doesn't have a shop, blog, or some other page or feature, just know that it can be easily added, and Squarespace will even allow you to select from pre-built page layouts so you don't have to feel like you're starting from scratch with each new page that you add. To select template, click Start. You can skip over the tutorials for now since they will be covered in this video. So the first thing we need to do is to name our site. Even if you'll be replacing the site title with a logo image, Squarespace will need to know what to call your website in search engine results. To edit the site title, go to Edit, Edit Site Header, Site Title, and Logo. If you have a logo you want to display rather than your site title, go ahead and upload it here. If you have a smaller secondary logo, you can choose to upload that here to be used when your site is viewed in mobile. If you want to change the little icon or logo that appears beside your site title in a browser tab, also known as your favicon, you can upload that under Design and then Browser icon. Okay, now for a quick tour around the back end of your site. This window over here on the right that shows your actual website content as your visitor would see it is called your editing window. Over on the left is your site panel. This is where all the backend settings of your site live, the things that your site visitor cannot see but still affect the design and functionality of your site. Changes made over here on the right in your editing window are specific to that one page you have open in the window. Whereas changes you make over here on the left in your site panel will be applied across your whole website, even pages you aren't currently viewing. The exception to this rule is when using the editing window to make changes on your header and footer. These will look the same no matter what page your visitor lands on. So let's get started with building the first page of your website. To view all the pages that currently live on your site, head under your Pages panel. You can choose to edit the demo content that came with your template or start from scratch with your design, deleting out the demo content by hovering over the page in the panel and click the trash can. To add in a new page, click this little plus sign. To keep things from looking cookie cutter, I typically recommend to start with a blank page and consider designing your layout around your own unique content rather than the other way around. Though if you need a little help with knowing where to get started and what to include on certain pages, these pre-built layouts can be helpful. You also have the option of adding a blog, store, portfolio, or event page to your site. These are known as collection pages as they are pre-built layouts used to display thumbnail previews of all the items in a specific collection. Each individual collection item, like a single blog post, shop product, portfolio piece, or event, will also have its own page as well, though it won't get added in the same way a regular page does. Instead, collection items are added by clicking on your collection page. This will open up your collection management window where you can add, edit, and manage your content related to that collection. If you plan to add a blog or shop to your Squarespace 7.1 site, you'll want to check out my blogging and e-commerce series using the new version of Squarespace. I walk you through step by step how to start adding and managing the individual products or posts on your site, as well as further customizing the look and layout of your shop and blog pages. I'll be sure to link those in the description below. Heading back to our Pages panel, let's look at those last few options we have when adding a page. A folder is used when you want to have several pages appear in a dropdown under a certain link in your header. To give an example, if you're a photographer and you want to have a link in your header that says portfolio, but then when someone clicks the link, they can select family, wedding, engagement, or newborn portfolio from the dropdown. Last, you have the option to add a link rather than build an actual page. This is useful when trying to link to an external URL from your website and you want that link appearing in your main navigation. For this video, I'm going to go ahead and add one of those general page layouts to use as my site's homepage. But again, I highly suggest starting with that blank page option to make sure your site winds up a perfect reflection of your business and not a perfect reflection of your chosen template. If you're stuck for what type of content needs to live on your homepage, then I have a little gift for you. This is actually a homepage content planner I share with students inside my Square Secrets course. That's the one that teaches you how to use Squarespace to build a completely custom, nothing like the template website that attracts and converts your ideal clients and customers 24/7. It's the perfect tool for planning out that first impression visitors will have when they visit your site, and today I'm sharing it for free with you. So be sure to grab a copy before you sit down to start building. So I've got my new homepage open. To open a specific page in your page editing window, just click that page in your Pages panel. Now I'm going to click Edit in the top left of the editing window. Before you can actually add content like images or text to a page, you first have to add a section. Building your page in sections makes it easier to manage, rearrange, duplicate, or delete whole sections of content as needed, and makes it so that you can style one section differently to the next, say choosing a different background color. Inside each section, you'll be able to add your content blocks, aka the actual images, text, button, and so on that make up your site. Content blocks are added by clicking an insert point and selecting which type of block you want to add. These little guidelines that appear are what let you know where your content will be added in relation to the other content already in that section. So if I want to add a bit of content below another block, I would just select the insert point below it. Content can also be dragged side to side by creating two or more columns. To make one content block wider or narrower in relation to the other content blocks on that row, just drag the side of the container to resize it. It's not always possible to find an insert point exactly where you want your content block to live on the page, so just add it anywhere and then drag and drop it to where you want it using the blue lines that appear to guide you. If you want your content to reach closer to the edge of the page in a particular section, just click the pencil icon or style icon and use the sizing and alignment tools to tell Squarespace how to arrange your content. You can use the built-in size standards or click these three little dots to pull up a custom size slider. If you need more white space above or below or beside any type of content, and adjusting your section sliders doesn't do the trick, you can always add what are called spacer blocks between your regular content blocks. Besides that spacer block I just mentioned, there are a few other blocks you'll likely be reaching for most in your site build. First, you have your text block, obviously to add written content or copy to your site. Then you have your image block. You can upload your own image or select an image from free stock images that come with your Squarespace subscription, or pay to use a premium photo. If you need to find a photo that you've already previously uploaded somewhere else on your site, you can click here. Once an image is uploaded, you can use this little circle icon to tell Squarespace where you want the focal point of that image to be. That way, if Squarespace needs to crop an image in order to fit it into a certain block, you'll be able to decide which part of the photo to prioritize displaying. No matter which type of image block you originally added, you have the option to tweak the layout under the Design tab, so be sure to play around with the layout to see what best fits your unique content. You also have the option of adding fun little animations or movements to your images. If you want to add multiple photos at once, try adding a gallery section rather than adding and uploading each image individually. To tweak the look and layout of your gallery section, just click the section settings icon where you can test out multiple options for displaying your photos, grid style, or slideshow style. Pro tip, if you ever need to see what's happening underneath your section settings window, just drag and drop it out of the way of your content. The most common content block to know is your button block. Your button style and color will be set over in the left in your site panel in what's called the Site Styles Editor, which I go over in just a minute. But you do have a few settings here inside the content block settings window, like what size to make the button and whether it should be left, center, or right aligned. Each bit of content you add to your section will also have its own style settings or pencil icon, helping you further customize how that particular block appears, like its layout or any design or animation options, as well as any functions it will have, like linking to another page. The exception to this is the text block. Rather than a pencil or style icon, you have this pretty standard little text toolbar to help you format the text inside your block. So you can bold, italicize, align, and link bits of your text as usual, as well as tell Squarespace which size or format from your template's font pack you want to use. But what if you want to use a different font or color than what your chosen template came with? In order to make changes to the default style settings that came with our chosen template, we have to visit the Site Styles Editor. You'll find that over here on the left under your site's design panel. Just a heads up, Squarespace will only show you styling options for the things that already exist on your site. So if you're trying to style a particular type of content, say the color of your paragraph 1 format font will be, you'll need to make sure that it's been added to your site somewhere first. Remember, changes made in your site panel over here on the left side are site-wide, meaning if you tweak a button color here, buttons everywhere on your site will follow suit. But you will still want to have a page open over here that contains an example of the content you're trying to style so you can watch those updates happen in real time. The template you chose comes with what's known as a font pack, a special font pairing Squarespace designers came up with that will be used consistently across your whole site. If you want to change your template's default font pack, you'll head under Design and then Fonts. You can choose to use a pre-made font pack by clicking here and selecting from a list of other Squarespace suggested pairings, or you can customize your heading fonts, paragraph fonts, and buttons individually below. The tweaks you make here will be applied to all the fonts within that group, say for example your headings 1 to 4. So while it's not possible to select a different font family for every one of your heading fonts, you can use these size sliders below to differentiate between the different headings. Once your template's font pack has been set in the back end of your site, you can come back over here to your page editor and decide where to assign those. If you want different colors than what came with your template, you'll first have to set them within your design panel by going to Design and then Colors. First, you'll pick 5 colors that will make up your site's overall color scheme. Do that by clicking Edit on your color palette and then using this little drop down to select your method for creating your palette. You can use a pre-built designer palette, a palette using suggested colors pulled from a favorite image you upload here, a complementary palette Squarespace will automatically generate based on your main accent color, or a completely custom palette where each color is individually hand-selected by you using the built-in sliders, or by pasting in your exact color codes if you happen to know them. Squarespace will then take those 5 colors from your palette and create what are known as your section themes. These section themes can then be applied to individual sections to help one look different from the next, but still cohesive with your overall palette. So back over in your page editor, if you have one section where you want to have a light background, but the next you want to use a contrasting background to help break up the content on the page, then these themes are how you achieve that. To change the theme applied to a section, click on its style icon and head under the Colors tab. If you want more control over how your colors are used within a theme or want to introduce additional colors to certain details within a section theme, just open the theme in your design panel and tweak the appropriate design element. If you're not sure what a certain design element is called in your design panel, you can just click on the element on the page and it will show you which options apply to that bit of content. When making tweaks to a section theme in your design panel, make sure that the section theme has already been applied somewhere on the page so that you can watch those changes update in real time as well. It's also possible to add images or video as your background rather than just colors. To do this, open up your section settings again and head under the Background tab. Upload your media here and then decide whether you want your media to span the entire width of the section or whether there should be some white space left around the image or video. And in order to make sure you don't lose your hard work, always be sure to press save in both your backend panel and when working on the page builder. If you aren't digging the style or shape of your buttons, you'll want to head back under the Design panel to the Buttons tab. This is where you set the actual design of the buttons, like whether it will be square or round, filled in, or just an outline. Then, if you remember from earlier, you use the local button style settings on the page to tell Squarespace whether you want to use small, medium, or large buttons. The fonts of your buttons were decided earlier when you set your template's font pack, and the color of your button is decided by which of your 10 color themes you apply to that section. Now that you know the basics of adding content to a page, we should talk about how to organize and connect all these pages so that your visitors can actually find them when they visit your site. Each page you create will have its own unique link, also known as its URL. To find and edit a page's URL, just head back onto your Pages panel and hover over the page you want to view. Click the little gear or page settings icon that appears, and then head under the General tab. Look for the URL slug. This page's complete URL address is going to be your domain name followed by the URL slug. So if your domain name, also known as your website address, is, say, southernliving.com, then this page's URL would be southernliving.com/contact. So that is the link you would need to share when you want to direct people to that page. It's best to keep your URL slug short and using only super relevant keywords so that it'll be easy for people to remember it and for SEO purposes. There are a few different ways to link to your pages from within your own site. So obviously you have your main navigation, the main pages you want visitors to be able to see and access the moment they land on your site. To make sure a page is appearing linked in your site header, you'll want to drag it up here into the main navigation section of your Pages panel. The order they appear from left to right in your site header is the order that you drag and drop them here in the main navigation section. But you can't go sticking every last page you ever created in the header. It's best to limit it to 3 to 5 top priority links to make sure that visitors don't get distracted and are actually taking the actions you're hoping they will on your website. So what do you have to do with all the other pages you will build? You let them live down here in the unlinked section. These are the pages you link to either from a button, graphic, or text link on one of your main pages, your website footer, or shared externally on something like social media. If you ever need to delete a page, you can do so by hovering over the page and clicking the trash can. But what about if you just want to disable a page so that you can keep it for later, but nobody would be able to visit it or search for it in the meantime? Open up your Pages settings again using the little gear icon and toggle off the Enable Page button. If you want to leave the page live but want to password protect it instead, then you can add a password here. To edit your lock screen, the one where visitors would have to type in their password, you just head to Design and then Lock Screen. You'll also notice you have several other built-in page options here under Design to make use of on your site. Say, for instance, you want your own custom 404 or page not found page. You can build out that page however you like using a blank page, and then you would come under 404 page to set which page will appear when a visitor stumbles upon a broken link on your site. This is also where you'd make any changes to your checkout page if you have an online shop. Going back to our page settings, it's also possible to duplicate an entire page. Say, if you liked your design for a registration page and you want to tweak it to use for another event, you could instantly create a copy of the page by clicking here. You also have the option to set different pages as your homepage. This is useful if you have a temporary homepage you want to direct people to during a special sale or event when they try to visit your domain, but then later want your visitors to be taken to your normal homepage. To see which page is currently set as your homepage, just click your site title. Then click on Edit and this little gear icon in the top right, which is just another way to open your page settings. If you scroll down, you can see that it is my work page currently serving as my homepage. Let's talk about the different options you have for linking to your pages from your content instead of from your main navigation, section, or header. Many types of content blocks have an option for linking right inside their content block settings, but I'll use this button block to give you an example. To link a button, just add your button block, click the style icon, and add the page you wish to link in the click-through URL field. You have a few other options for linking if you click this gear icon. You can link to a normal link, deciding whether it will open in a new browser window when clicked, or just redirect them using their current window, leaving the page they were on. You can search for a page on your own site without having to go manually track down its unique URL. You can link up an email, meaning that when someone clicks it, their default emailing app will open a blank draft with your email in the to field. You can link a phone number, which will make it possible for mobile users to call you without having to copy and paste your phone number. And you can also attach a file that will automatically download when the link is clicked. So now you've got a pretty good start on getting content added and styled for the desktop version of your site. Let's quickly pop into mobile view and talk about what's possible there. Squarespace is automatically responsive, which means that no matter what device or screen size a visitor is using to view your site, Squarespace does a pretty great job of making sure that A, your site is still usable on a smaller screen, and B, the layout and design still looks on point. They will even automatically create a collapsible mobile menu for you using the links that you had appearing in your header. That being said, it's not possible to build a completely different layout for desktop and mobile, so you'll want to pop in here from time to time to make sure your design seems to be working for both views. There is one thing that you can edit separately for mobile, and that is the layout of your mobile header, the color theme applied to your mobile menu, and which mobile icon you prefer. These can be found by clicking Edit on any page, then clicking Edit Site Header, and clicking on the mobile icon. Clicking the desktop icon will give you a few options that are specific to desktop size screens, but you'll find your header button, icon, and color settings under that universal tab. When it comes to colors, your site header acts just like a normal section where you assign one of your 10 section themes. But if you want your header to seamlessly blend in with whatever background color or background image it's closest to, you want to toggle this little transparent button. Since we talked about headers, we should probably skip down to the bottom of the page and touch on footers as well. Footers are site-wide, meaning that if you tweak your footer on one page, all pages across your site will follow. You can add multiple sections to your footer, each section having its own custom styling options, and you can even select from pre-made footer layouts to make your job easier. So those are the basics for getting started with your site build. Now let's look at what it takes to hit publish on your site when it's ready. If you want to show your website to the world, you're going to have to pay to play. So it's time to bite the bullet and upgrade to a paid Squarespace subscription for your new site. To do this, head under Settings and then Site Availability and click Upgrade to Publish. It will take you to the current Squarespace pricing plans where you can look over their comparison chart and decide which features you really need in order for your site to serve your business well. Which plan you choose is 100% dependent on what you plan to use your site for, but here's a little quick rule of thumb to go by for each. If you don't have any plans to make money off your site and you don't need any premium features Squarespace offers, like custom coding or e-commerce to name a few, then you're probably just fine to go with the personal plan. If you plan to somehow monetize your new site, most businesses are going to go with the business plan or higher so they can have access to e-commerce, but also things like promotional pop-ups or announcement bars. Plan to have an online shop? You can technically do this on a business plan, but upgrading to an e-commerce plan does save you the 3% transaction fee. So it's worth your time to sit down and do a bit of business projection math and figure out if, based on your expected sales, the 3% will end up costing you more than just upgrading from the start. The advanced plan offers several e-commerce options not available in the business or e-commerce plans, like abandoned cart recovery and the ability to sell subscriptions and gift cards. For a complete guide to Squarespace plans and premium features, check out this post. I'll be sure to link to it in the description below as well. There's definitely a savings to be had by paying annually over monthly, and I snagged you an additional 10% off your first year when you use the code PAGE10. So now you've paid your dues and set your site availability to public for all the world to see. There's just one last step, and that is to link up your custom site domain. This last step isn't quite so straightforward as there's about a million different places you could have purchased your custom domain name, each one having completely different means of connecting to your Squarespace site. But if you check out my post on connecting your domain and launching your site, I've linked to helpful articles for all the most popular places to shop for domains. I'll pop that link in the description below for you as well. So there you have it. Hopefully this video has you feeling equipped and ready to finally check off that major to-do of building your website off your list. Now remember, there are a few important resources that I mentioned in the video that you're going to want to get your hands on before you go to sit down and actually get started building your website, and I've linked them all for you in the description below. But the most important one is going to be that homepage content planner. Your homepage can honestly make or break a visitor's impression of your entire business. You have literally just seconds from the time that someone lands on your site to win them over, so you want to make sure that your homepage strategy is on point and that it is set up to convert all those clicks into actual paying customers and clients. So don't forget to grab your free copy of my homepage content planner using the link in the description. Now, if you found this video helpful, be sure to let me know by hitting that like button. And remember, for the best Squarespace tips and tricks and website building best practices, don't forget to subscribe and tap the little bell button to be notified when new content drops on my channel every single week. Now, wondering what to watch next? Check out these videos too.